Hey guys, I really enjoyed watching the videos that you made me. So hopefully this will be pretty easy for you guys today to watch me make a video. You need some graph paper. You will also be doing your homework on graph paper. And please make sure you do it all. This stuff takes a lot of practice. It's not too bad though once you get the hang of it. So we are going to talk kind of about working backwards or deciding from a from an equation what the amplitude is and what the period is. I'm making this right now. I'm sitting on my couch in my basement, and my daughter is watching TV. So if you hear weird stuff, that's why. I'm just going to do one cycle. So I'm going to start this one right here in blue. I'm just going to graph cosine theta. So I'm going to make my table 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. And cosine starts at the top, middle, bottom, middle, and top. And so I'm going to label my graph. And if you guys need to pause, you know that you can at any time. And then I'm going to list myself some critical points. So maybe here will be pi over 2, and then pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Okay, so graphing cosine 1, 0, -1, 0, 1, and you guys know how hard it is to draw on your Chromebook screen, so hopefully you'll forgive my bad art. All right, so this we know how to graph. Now I'm going to graph the next one, which is 4 cosine theta, and I think I can make purple. There we go, I got purple. So for this one, my rule, anything inside opposite to the x's, so the x's are going to stay the same. Anything outside, which is the 4, is going to go to the y's. So 4y. I'm going to copy down my x's. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And I'm going to multiply all of my y's by 4. So 4, 0, -4, 0, 4. And I'm going to graph this one here. And hopefully you can see in one cycle of cosine that amplitude is this number out in front. Okay? And we've talked about this, guys. Amplitude is absolute value because it is a distance from the midline to the top or the midline to the bottom. And so the distance is always positive. Okay, that was it for amplitude. Remember to pause if you need more time, rewind. Next one we're going to talk about is final. So period is not readily shown in the equation. I am going to use a different letter. The letter that I'm going to use is K. So sine of K times theta, or cosine of K times theta, where K relates to period as in P for period. Period is 2 pi over K. So let's take a look at what that means. So I'm going to graph cosine again. My X and my Y. I'm going to graph it in blue. I'm going to have, let's see, start at 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, 0, -1, 0, 1. I'm going to graph this one a little different just so, let's see, we've got 1 and -1. Of course, this is the midline at 0. So let's see, this is going to be pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. This one I'm going to make a little longer. Okay. And when I graph this one, top, middle, bottom, middle, top. So hopefully yours looks something like that. Now, when I go to do my purple one, which is going to be this one here, cosine of pi over 2. Remember, this is, I'm sorry, theta over 2. This is like saying cosine of 1/2 times theta, or 1/2 times x, however you want to think of it. So the 1/2 is happening inside. So that's going to be 2x. It's going to go here. Nothing is happening, so my y's are going to stay the same. So 0, pi over 2 times 2 is just going to be 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. If you don't know where I got those numbers, you need to hit pause and try to work those out yourself. Come back when you're ready. The y's stay the same. And now I'm going to graph these. So what I'm going to do is 0, they start in the same spot, but at pi, this one's at the midline. At 2 pi, it's at the bottom of the cycle. 3 pi would be at the midline again, and 4 pi again, we're at the top. So when I graphed this one, that was really bad, you can see that this one stretched out twice as big. So if I'm looking at this number here, k in this case is 1/2. How does that relate to our formula? Period equals 2 pi over k. K is 1/2. When we divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal, and I get 4 pi is my new period. That should make sense. I've got 2 pi over here. Over here I've got 4 pi. And again, to make one cycle right here in purple, it took me 4 pi. If somebody's going to get something wrong on the test, it's this, thinking that this number here indicates period. This you need to know. Period equals 2 pi over k. Guys, that's it for notes for today. And I will put your homework assignment up. It'll be on Schoology. I will have access to email, so if you have questions. I also put a discussion board up on Schoology. So if you have questions and you don't want to ask anybody, you could type it in there and see if anyone will answer you. I may answer too, but it's a good way to get help from your peers. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.